Alright, time for the solutions for the translate exponential functions assignment. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with this function, and you're going to do these particular transformations on it. Namely, this first one, since it says plus 2 outside these parentheses, is going to be a vertical shift plus 2. And this one, since it says plus 2 inside the parentheses, that is going to be a horizontal shift negative 2, because if it's inside the parentheses, you're going to go in the opposite direction. And right here, that piece there and that piece there are just these two combined, so it's both a vertical shift of plus 2 and a horizontal shift of negative 2. So we're going to take that function here and just shift it accordingly. Something I like to do is just start with my y-intercept and move that one and go from there. So this one I need to do a vertical shift plus 2, so it's going to put my y-intercept right here on 3, and then I can take all the other points and just go from that. This one's up 1 over 1, the next one's up 2 over 1. So I can go up 1 up, that one kind of goes off the graph. The other one goes down a half, down a fourth, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to go down 1, 4, down, and it keeps going down. And so I can graph that one like so. And my next one, I'm going to take my function and move it to the left 2. So I'm going to move my y-intercept to the left 2. Here. And then the next one's up 1 over 1, next one's up 2 over 1. And then going left, you go down a half, down a fourth, down an eighth, and go down like so. So there's where my next function is going to be. And if you do both, you need to go left 2 and up 2. You're going to get this as your new y-intercept. And there'll be a point there. Go up 1 over, up 2 over 1. It'll give you another point if you go down 1/2 and left. It'll give you another point. It's looking like that's going to be our function there. And that brings us to the next part. So in this next section, you just take each of these ones. This one says subtract 3 outside this parentheses, so that's a vertical shift. And when you do a vertical shift, exactly what it says. So it says subtract 3. And then the next one has subtract 3 inside the parentheses for a translation here. And that means you're going to do a horizontal shift. But you do the opposite because sometimes math is weird. So that one's going to be a plus 3, so you're going to shift everything to the right 3. And on this last one, we have a change inside the parentheses where it says plus 2. So that's going to be a horizontal shift of negative 2. And then a subtract 3 outside the parentheses, which is going to be a vertical shift of negative 3. So now we're going to move. Now we know where we're going to move all that stuff. We're going to take our original function and move it. So originally the y-intercepts there at 1. Well, if you do a vertical shift down 3, it's going to be here at negative 2. And if you want to get 1 point to the right, you go up 1 over 1, and the next one is up 2 over 1. The next one's up 4 over 1. And so you can get those points. If you go left, you go down a half, down a fourth more, down an eighth, and it comes out to be pretty horizontal there on the left side. And now this is going to be our function. That's where the new spot's going to be. On the next one, you move to the right 3. So if I take everything, move it to the right. If I move my y-intercept over there, that's where it's going to start. And if I want to get a point to the right, go up 1 over 1. And if I want to get the next one, go up 2 over 1. If I want to go left, go down a half. And I'll go down a little bit more, and I'll get that. And that's going to be my new function. And then finally on 6, I need to go to the left 2 and down 3. It's going to put my y-intercept right here. And if I want to get another point to the right, go up 1 over 1. I can go up 2 over 1. And I could go up 4 over 1 to get the last one there on the right side. And if I want to go left, you can go down a half. And go down a fourth more. And you can go down an eighth. And get a pretty level function there on the left side. And it looks like that. So that's the entire front page. And moving on to the back. This section has been tricky for quite a few. But there's a couple things to remember about exponentials. And one of the things is that the function assignment here doesn't give you your y-intercept. This number here is the asymptote that it starts out at. So originally your asymptote is y equals negative 9. And if you do a vertical shift of plus 4, well, you just take negative 9, you add 4, and you'll get your new number, which is negative 5. So y equals negative 5 is going to be your new asymptote. And if you jump down to 9, again, it's asking about your asymptote, and on 10 it's asking about asymptote. So this one's going to start at -5, so we're going to start at -5. And you do vertically +1 units. Well, if you do -5 and you add 1, you'll be looking at -4. So y equals -4 is your new asymptote for 9. And then on 10, this is going to be your starting asymptote of y equals 2. And if you move horizontally 4 units, like if you take an exponential function and you move it to the right, the asymptote doesn't change. And so we're going to get just y equals 2 for this asymptote. And then on 8, this right here it's asking about your x-intercept, which is not given. But you can figure it out because at your x-intercept, your y value is 0, so your function, if you set it equal to 0 and solve for x, you can get your starting x-intercept. Well, if you're not quite sure what x value it is, solve for x, add 8 to both sides, and we got 8 equals 2 to the x. Well, 2 to the third power is 8, so x is going to have to be 3, and if you do a horizontal shift of +3, 3 plus 3, it's going to give you 6, so that's going to give you the x-intercept of 6, 0, and that's going to be your point. Moving on to the next section here, these ones you're given this starting table, starting function, takes an x, gives you this, takes an x, gives you this, and you translate it. Well, this here is a vertical translation, a vertical shift of -12, which is going to change all of your y values. All your x's are going to stay the exact same as it used to be. So -6, -2, -1, 0, and 2. And when you do a vertical shift, none of the x's change, just the y's. And we're going to take all these y values and subtract 12 from them. So it's going to give me 60, and 0, and -2, and -3, and then -3 and 3/4. If you don't believe me, you can check it out in your calculator, just plug it right in, and you'll get something. You'll get -3 and 3/4, or -3.75. And moving on to 12. And on the next section, we have a transformation by a change inside the parentheses, which is a horizontal shift of -4. So you take all your old x values, and they're going to be 4 less than they used to be. And all your original function values are going to be the exact same. So if you copy all these function values over, 72, I'm not very good at memorizing all these numbers real quick, 12, 10, 9, and then 8 1/4. And then the x values, and you subtract 4 from all of those ones, you'll get -10, -6, -7, -4, and the last one's 2, -4, because you -2. That's a 7 right there. And so that gives us that one. And then for my next one, we have 2 transformations. This right here corresponds to a vertical shift of +5. And this right here is a horizontal shift in the positive direction. Because if it's inside the parentheses, it's the opposite, so you need to do +2. So all your x is +2, all your y is +5. And so I can actually just kind of copy these ones over, but make them 5 more. It's going to give me 77, 19, 17, 16, and 13 and 1/4. And then all my x values need to be 2 more. So that's going to give me -4, 0, 1, 2, and 4. And that's my table there. And moving on to the last 2 ones. The graph is this function plus k. Well, normally your 2 to the x function looks like that one, which originally has an asymptote of y equals 0, and this one has a asymptote of y equals -3. And so that's actually going to be what k is equal to. K equals -3, because the function shifted. That shifted part is going to be your asymptote. And if you come down to this one, the asymptote's at 2. So k is going to have to be 2. So those are going to be our answers for the last 2, and that's it.